everyone, thanks for joining us today. We're here to talk about the new features that have come out in Tricerat version 6.8. I'm Andrew, I'm the CTO here at Tricerat, and I'm joined by one of our solutions engineers, Chris. And we're going to walk through some of the highlights of this release to get you familiar with some of the new features and enhancements that we've put in here. We've had our dev team working quite hard on this release and are really quite happy with some of the features. As with all of our releases, we've really driven from customer feedback, and so things that have come back from the field as ways to make these enhancements valuable to administrators and to users, to improve productivity for those end users and really help administrators reduce their time even further. And so we'll walk through some of those things and how they might help your environments.
Okay, great. Thank you, Andrew. The first thing I'm going to talk about is Maps. Maps is a new feature in version 6.8 for our simplified suite products, and we're making the self-service of printers as easy as possible for end users. Admins can drop printers right onto a floor plan, so users can then add those printers to wherever they might be in the environment. As you can see, this is a total different look and feel from our previous UIs. Our user-assigned printers tool works very easily. Simply open the tool, select Maps from the side navigation, and find your location. Now you can add the printer that you want, and Simplify Suite will automatically build the printer on your endpoint. And you can see that the printer is built very quickly. Admins can configure Maps with a map management utility, which can be opened right from Simplified Console. This is the same easy navigations as we saw from the end user experience. Adding a map is as simple as browsing to a file. You can drop a printer onto a map with a simple right click and searching through a list. And of course, the maps are interactive, so you can get precise locations for your printers.
Great, so the user-assigned printers tool really offers a few different ways to assign printers. What are the different ways that users might use this now?
Well, the big reason is for users who might be moving from location to location, site to site. Think nurses who are going from patient room to patient room, or IT people who are going to different remote sites throughout the office or throughout the company. This is great for them who might not know where they are that particular day or that particular week, so they can pull up the map of their location and find the closest printer to them.
Great, so this is one of those user-facing tools that really helps the end users get to the printers they need right away.
That's exactly right.
All right, the next thing I want to talk about is the updates to the default printers. And so previously, users could use that user-assigned printers tool that we were just looking at to set their default printer, but it would only be one for a given user. And so we looked at users that might move from location to location, and so they might go to location A, set a default printer there, go to location B, set a new default printer. And this feature will now manage the user's default printers per location. So when that user goes back to location A, they already have the correct default printer set, ready to go. Again, less interaction from the user, more of just them being able to open their application, select print, and have the print job go to the location they're expecting.
Andrew, I've heard from a lot of customers where they have users, especially those IT tech people, who could be at 3-4 different sites a week, and they go back and forth between these same offices. They were having problems with having to reset the default printer every time, but it seems with this feature, they can now set a default printer at each one of those locations, and it makes it a much better user experience for them.
Yeah, it's certainly more of a power user feature. So we've always had the ability to be able to assign printers based on their IP address. So the administrators might be able to assign printers and set default for those locations. But for those IT managers that you might have mentioned, or other departmental managers that are moving around a lot, they might need that self-service capability to set unique default printers based on those locations. So in those power user examples, I think they'll really find this feature very useful.
So let's take a look at the next feature, what we call Printer Discovery. This is our simplified driver management software, and we've added the ability for admins to quickly and easily add network printers to their environment. Simply add the printer or discover the printer on your network, and then drag and drop the appropriate driver for that printer. And now this printer can be assigned to an end user, to a workstation, with a simple drag and drop using our simplified console. And then, of course, using the Refresh Printers tool from the User-Assigned Printers tool, that printer is going to be built for them automatically on their endpoint.
Yeah, it looks like a much easier way now to be able to get those printers in quickly and without much hassle.
That's right. And one of the biggest reasons we added this feature is to help network admins or printer admins mass bulk import those network printers in their environment. So instead of adding a single printer or a single driver one at a time, now they can add all their network printers and all their network drivers at once.
Great. I think another example of that combination of admin efficiencies, but also user experience enhancements. And speaking of administrator enhancements, one of the new features we just added is what we call OU isolation. And so this is for some of the larger environments we work in, particularly MSPs, that might have multiple tenants defined in a single Active Directory, but segmented by organizational unit. And so it's a feature that allows the global admin to restrict down certain administrators to only see the OUs that they're a member of. So traditionally in the Simplify Management Console, we would see the entire view of the Active Directory here, and no matter who logged in, if they had access, they'd see that full list. Well, with this feature, you can go into the directory, add a specific group, and anybody in that group is a super user that can see everything in the directory. But if you log into the Simplify console and you're not specifically a member of that group, you're now going to see a limited view of the Active Directory, specifically only the OU that this particular user is a member of. So again, for some of those larger environments, a great way to restrict access and make sure that the right people are managing the right users and printers in the environment.
Andrew, you mentioned MSPs, but I know customers have found this to be really helpful for restricting access to lower level help desk staff or tech support staff who might only need to deal with a certain set of users or departments. So even in the same organization, this can be helpful to specify which OUs certain users have access to.
Right, if you have different help desks for different departments, this would be a great way to say, okay, this particular help desk staff can manage this particular OU or maybe a specific manager. So if you have your OUs segmented out that way, this would be a very easy way to then restrict access accordingly.
Okay, so let's take a look at the next feature in 6.8 and what we call Mac drivers. We're giving you the ability to manage Mac drivers in addition to native Windows print drivers. Simplified Driver Management for Mac uses Apple's built-in support for IPP printer connectivity. All Tricerat needs is a printer with an IP address. And then Apple Printing Services will automatically query that printer for its capabilities and then build its appropriate queue. This is really great for companies who have a lot of Macs or allow users to bring their own devices to work.
Yeah, quite a few enhancements in here for SDM. And this is particularly one of those driver management features, is it not?
That's correct. Where Maps was both a simplified printing and a simplified driver management feature, Mac drivers for simplified driver management is particular to simplified driver management.
Okay, let's talk about user settings. And we've added the capability in here now so that when a user opens up a printer, no matter what type of printer from Tricerat, that might be a Screwdriver's client printer, it might be an advanced print feature printer from a print server, any setting changes that are made to that printer interface now will persist for that user across sessions. So this might be useful for someone going between different VDI sessions or moving between different Windows desktops. The settings that they put in place and already expect to be there from session to session now carry through as those users would expect. Again, minimizing the friction to users, making their productivity even faster and easier.
Andrew, this seems like a great feature that goes along with a lot of the other features we talked about before. Can you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, again, something that comes from the field. We've heard some feedback from particular users. In one case, users that were using desktop printing, and so simplified printing on physical desktops, and users would trust that the settings they put, in this case, like pin code printing, they would put that in place once and expect it to be there session after session after session. Now that works as they would expect.
Okay, so let's talk about version 7.0. You've heard us mention it a few times throughout this presentation, and while our 6.8 release has some great significant improvements and enhancements, 7.0 is going to be even bigger with a complete redesign of the simplified console for printing. With modernizing the look of the interface, we're making the software seamless to use and features easier to discover while still providing that same powerful functionality you've come to expect from Tricerat. You can check it out live with our new version 6.8 of Simplified Suite, which, like all our software, is available on our website for a free 30-day trial. But stay tuned for more information in your inboxes and on social media.
Yeah, and this is a good time to talk about kind of how 6.8 is that transition into 7.0. We talked already in the presentation about the updates to the user assigned printers tool and the major changes to the user interface there. And again, taking feedback, we have a lot of advantages in our user interface of how efficient it is for administrators, how effective it is for users. So we want to keep those traits, but bring those interfaces up to more modern standards and really just help those workflows go through even smoother. And so you see that with the user assigned printers tool, and 7.0 will be throughout all user interfaces, both admin and user facing. That kind of new, clean, simple interface that we expect to be quite powerful and still build upon our traditions of effective and easy user management.
So with a lot of those enhancements that come down the line, bug fixes, stuff that's been added to 6.8 and upcoming in version 7.0, we encourage administrators to start trying this new version for their environment. And then, of course, contact us for help if you need help upgrading from your current version.
Yeah, absolutely. A couple of those other smaller enhancements that Chris was just talking about. We have improved advanced print feature settings. This is a very popular feature in our software where users can access those native interfaces for the printers. We've improved the compatibility, so across varying device types, we now have even better capability and support across those printers. We do have a license server upgrade, so there is a new license server that ships with 6.8. Make sure to get that installed first, and so then all 6.8 instances that come online from there forward will use that new license interface. And speaking of licensing, particularly for those administrators concerned with high availability, we have added in a grace period. So if for any reason that license server can't be contacted due to a network outage or a server issue, we give a grace period now so that users will still continue to build those printers while the administrator gets those services restored and back online. So really to help with that uninterrupted print service out to your users. And like Chris mentioned, this is available on the website. If you have existing maintenance contracts with us, this is a free upgrade for you to take your existing version 6 product and upgrade it to version 6.8. If you do not have an active contract, please reach out to us at sales@tricerat.com or your account manager, and we'll make sure to get you all the information you need to get this latest version and all the features that contained within. All right, I'd like to thank you all for joining, and hopefully this was a good glimpse into those new features in 6.8 and even what's coming down the pipe with version 7. Please stay tuned as we continue to have those product releases. And again, thank you for joining.